We have to talk first of all about Islam. We need to give a basic framework, because you cannot separate Iman and Islam. You cannot say I believe in everything, but I don't pray. I don't pray. I don't do literally anything. I do everything what I want, what is haram, instead of doing what's halal, and I'm not doing any little responsibilities. I cannot imagine what kind of Iman is that. Because by the first thing you need to do, if you accept it, you have to say Shahada. And if the person say, yes, I believe in it, but I'm not going to say Shahada, this is arrogance. That means there is no Iman. How you really believe in the resurrection after death and you refuse to say Shahada, which will save you? We can say 100% there is no Iman, because a refusal to make this action shows what's in your heart, because we show ourselves outwardly what happens inside, isn't it? Through behavior we understand how people feel about us, and what do they think about us. Exactly same situation here. So, but before we go to Iman, few words about Islam. So we say Islam is how we classify, how we judge external words and external actions. And here, that's basically when people say Sharia, they speak about this dimension. Here you need to know there is a Arabic word for that, and that Arabic word is hukm. And here, when I say hukm, the short way to explain it in English is legal judgment. So this is the judgment of Sharia regarding certain action, regarding something we say, regarding something we do. Now, when it comes to legal judgment, there are 5 main legal judgments, which everyone knows. This is like a basic framework. It's like, it's like alphabet, literally. If you don't know alphabet, you cannot speak. If you don't know those legal judgments, well, then again, then the religion is not, or deen is not a conscious choice. This is just a blind imitation. Right? This is literal basic. This is before 101. This is alphabet. So first, legal judgment, when we say this action is obligatory. The Arabic term for that you may have heard is wajib or fard. Is it the same or not? That's a separate discussion. Also depends according to which madhab we're going to define it. I'm just going to use it as a synonyms, as if it is 2 Arabic words, which mean exactly the same thing, obligatory. Another one, recommended. Arabic word for it is mandub. That is like a proper word. And sunnah, it's what it is known when you say, for example, this, to do this is fard, and to do this is sunnah. If you have not heard this expression before, don't worry, I am going to explain it. Then we have things which are simply allowed. They're simply permissible. The Arabic word for this is mubah, and the common Arabic expression is halal. So, for example, this meat is halal. What people mean by this? They mean it is allowed, it is permissible to eat. Disliked, and the Arabic word for this is makruh. So the last one would be prohibited, impermissible, and the common word for this is haram. How many of you are familiar with all 5? Either is in English or in Arabic. So just I would understand where are we. So you know that I know those 5. You might know, though, you might don't know that the Arabic word for it is hukum. You might don't know that disliked is makruh. But the point is that you know all 5. Okay? Yes. Yes, familiar. Okay. So that's good. So there are people for whom this expression it's not something you hear first time in your life. So of course, at least all of Muslims know that it's halal, right? You might know that there is a word haram, right? Okay. How about we're going to give a precise definition of it? Okay, we can talk about this in a very different ways, but we need to give a definition which is working definition, with something which will be useful for us in our discussion. All those terms come from usul al-fiqh, basically, because usul al-fiqh gives you the foundation upon which fiqh is built. Basically, that's a simple way to explain it. But we need to know how can we practically apply it? How can we practically using those terms? So the way to define all of those 5 things, that's a classical definition. I'm not inventing anything here. You can open Al-Waraqat by Imam al-Juwayni. That's what I will be explaining. So you can define it and explain it in terms of what happens if you do it, what happens if you don't do it. What happens if you do something what's obligatory? You get rewarded. Rewarded by who? Rewarded by Allah in the hereafter. Or to be more precise, we say deserves reward, because we never know is the action accepted or not. But we are just stating the basics here. So if you do something what's obligatory, for example, 5 salah during the day, you are rewarded. What happens if you don't do it? You deserve punishment. Again, when we speak about punishment here, we speak specifically about hereafter. You deserve punishment. Again, doesn't necessarily mean you will be punished. We speak about deserves reward, deserves punishment. Will this specific person be rewarded? There are many factors involved. Was it done with sincerity and so on? Don't do it. Allah can forgive. But we speak about action per se. If it's done, it is rewarded. If it's not done, it is punished. What about thing which is recommended? If you do it, you are rewarded. If you don't do it, you are not punished. Nothing there. That means, for example, we have 2 rakats we pray in the morning, which is obligatory. 2 rakats sunnah, 2 rakats before the 2 obligatory rakats, we call them sunnah rakat or mandub, to do it. It's recommended. If you do it, you are rewarded. If you don't do it, you are not punished. So what happens when you do something which is allowed? If you're doing nothing, if you don't do it, anything. Example, I'm doing something what's allowed. I'm drinking tea. I've done it, nothing. And what if would happen if I would refuse to do it? Also nothing. That's definition of what's allowed, people call halal. Then we have things which we call disliked. If you do it, it's nothing. Think, for example, which dislike when you make tahar, let's say you make wudu and you start talking to someone else. That's disliked because you are engaged in the act of ibadah, so you rather focus on what you're doing, preparing for salah. But what happens if you do it? Nothing. But if you don't do it, so for example, someone is trying to call you and there's no emergency, yeah, and you say, no, I'm not doing it. Not you think to yourself, I'm not doing, I'm engaged in wudu, then you are deserve reward for consciously not doing it. And when it comes to haram, as you can guess, if you do it, you're punished. If you don't do it, you are rewarded. You made conscious decision not to do it when you have an opportunity to do it. You deserve reward. And if you did it, you deserve punishment, unless Allah forgives. Questions on this? All of this is classical definition. What's wajib? ما يثاب على فعله ويعاقب على تركه, for example, and like that. It's all about thawab, which is reward, and iqab, which is punishment. There is of course many ways to go into the issue. Okay, intentions that's a different thing to talk about niyyah. That's a separate discussion, and we will see how it comes here. Yeah, so this is a classic way of explaining it in terms of applying to practice. Because there are other ways to explain it. For example, okay, I'm going to give you one other example to talk about it. So just to solidify it as all together, to put it in a connected way, we can see how one can be opposite of another. What do I mean by this? So we have those 5 ahkam, right? Ahkam is a plural, broken plural in Arabic for hukm. We say it's obligatory, right? So it means not doing it is haram. To pray any of the 5 salah, morning, zuhr, asr, maghrib, isha, it's fard. In its time, with all the precondition, of course, you're going to get there. But not doing it, you are in this time and you're supposed to do it, or not doing it's haram. Abandoning doing wajib is haram. To do something, what is recommended? Not doing it is disliked. The opposite of recommended is disliked. To do something which is halal, right? Not doing it is also halal. Like I'd say, to drink tea is halal, not to drink tea is also halal. So the opposite of halal in that sense, in terms of one being opposite of the other, the opposite of halal is not haram. The opposite halal, it's also halal. In that context, how we're talking. Yeah, Al-Warakat by Juwaini. You might find it translated, but it's a common thing. There is no it's not a secret. It's in any book on usul al-fiqh. which basically foundations of legal principles. That English translation doesn't make any sense. But nevertheless, so what's the opposite of makruh? Not doing makruh is sunnah, like we can say to when you make wudu, prepare, for example, making tahara for salah, it is mandub to be quiet. So to talk is disliked. So not talking, abandoning talk and stay quiet, silent instead is mandub. And the opposite of haram is wajib. Take any example of haram, zina, drinking alcohol, or whatever. Not doing zina, not drinking alcohol is wajib. Right. Now, let's check our understanding. Sorry, it's only one picture of cat I managed to put. Normally, I add more pictures of cats. I'll work on this. What do you think is the hukum of your attendance of this open class? Quick recap. Is it obligatory, recommended, allowed, disliked, or prohibited? What would be? I'm not asking you for fatwa. I'm asking you for your, no, not for legal opinion. That's another way of fatwa. What do you think? Best guess. 1 of 5. Every your action, because we are all legally responsible people, right? There is no little kids here. There is no people who are absent-minded, what you call it, mad people. We all adult, responsible beings. So every action going to be one of those 5. Okay, let's see what our Majlis Ulifta says. Mandub, recommended, allowed, mandub, or halal, or and halal, recommended, could be obligatory, recommended, basically, what's basically, I don't know, basic. Okay, but let's say recommended, wajib, mandub, between mandub, halal, recommended. Any more ideas? Okay, can't hear any. Well, read the email and try different browser. There is the fatwa on the topic of technical issues. Okay, here is the answer. That's attending class depends on the topic and depends on your current situation. So what do I mean? So for example, if in this gathering I would be talking some nonsense, I would be talking some idle, silly talk, could be makruh, and then when we start idle, silly talk, then we end up with backbiting, then we end up with haram, then we end up gossiping, discussing people faults. Now this is haram. That to leave this gathering would be obligatory for you, right? If you would have a normal casual conversation, which is not borderline any makruh haram, just like gathering, discussion, whatever, it could on the halal things, that would be halal. So if I would tell you, for example, okay, how to set up your computer, and you just want to some IT help, like some people need IT help when it comes to sound, yeah, that would be mubah. Now, what about obligatory and recommend? Well, that depends. If, as you will see further, you don't have this knowledge which I will be talking about in this class, you don't have this knowledge, it is, and I'm teaching this knowledge, it is obligatory for you to gain this knowledge. Not necessarily for this class, maybe there is another class, maybe, but the whole idea is that to gain the knowledge is obligatory for you. Okay? Salah is obligatory. To know how to make salah is obligatory. Because salah is obligatory. You cannot do something without knowing how to do it. You cannot make salah without tahara, right? You need to perform purification, you need to be in a pure state. That means that learning how to make tahara is obligatory. Ramadan comes in, it's when it's obligatory to fast, so you got no excuse, no sickness, no nothing. You're not traveling. It's obligatory for you to learn how to fast, meaning what are those things you have to abstain from, what is the time of fast, and so on. Right. To have correct belief, as you will see, is absolutely obligatory. What's the proof? وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Allah says in the Quran. Don't die except by being Muslims. You can think of it this way. In order to enter state of salah, you need to be in a state of tahara. Right. In order to leave this world, to go from this world to the next world, and that's a transition which we all will experience, right? We know that. We don't like kuffar who dreaming that one day they're gonna heal all the diseases, people gonna live forever. No, it's not gonna happen. Allah specifically challenges in the Quran, just don't die. If you believe, don't die. If you believe you're right, don't die. Well, no one met this challenge. No one met the challenge of the eloquence of Quran. No one met the challenge of living eternally, right? So we know we all gonna die. So in the same way, like we prepare for Salah to be in the state of Tahara, we need to prepare specifically for the moment of our death to be in the state of Iman. Salah time, we know Salah timings. We know we can make a plan. The moment of our death is unknown, so we have to be always in the state of Iman. So we need to know what is Iman, and we need to know what contradicts to it. So it means that this knowledge is obligatory, and if you don't have this knowledge, it's obligatory for you to acquire this knowledge. And for example, if you have this knowledge and you are yet to review, revise, and put things together, that we would say would be recommended if, let's say, maybe let's say person joining from another time zone and it's a Salah time. He already has this knowledge, but then Salah, of course, is more predominant. Right. So this is the answer to the question. So we can, everyone can assess your own situation based on this topic.